Hey there, welcome back to Badass Business Planning. We're still here in Module 3 talking about kind of your niche. And here in this lesson, we're going to talk about identifying the primary needs of your segments. And you might say, well, what's the difference between needs and problems? Like I don't understand the distinction. I'm going to make it very clear. So the needs here is not about the problem you're trying to help them serve or help them solve, but it's about identifying what is it that they need from you? What kind of support or value do they need from you to solve that problem? And this, by the way, is a fundamental step that a lot of people miss, because when you go to create the product and the offers you're going to create for people, you need to understand what it is that they need so that you can then create the right product for them. And to give you a sense, there are different things, different kinds of value that people might need from you. One type of value they might need from you is information. So providing them with education and information, that's one kind of value, right? You can see you're getting that from me here in this course. You're getting education and information. So if you're here watching this course, consuming BOMU content, chances are that part of what you need is information. So that's kind of part of it, right? So that's one sense. Hey, that's one type of value that people might need. Another type of value or support they might need from you are tools, things that will simplify the process of doing the work. So this might be in addition to information. It might be in lieu of information. It might be they don't really need the information. They don't care about why or how. They just want it done. My legal templates are kind of an example of this. They need a tool that will help them to do the work, to get the legal protection in place. And again, some people want to learn about the legal stuff, but some people don't. They just want it solved. So that's a tool. That's another type of solution. And this is a good example of saying, if what my audience really wants is tools and I'm offering them information, there's going to be a mismatch, right? If I had a course about the legal stuff but didn't give people the templates, it's not going to sell because my audience wants the tools, not just information. So again, information is one, tools is another. Now, another type of product or another type of value you might provide is community. Community can be a very important piece of what people need. Now, this will depend on your market. Some places, this is not a big deal. I know in the online marketing space, it is a big part of what people need because oftentimes, and I experience this in my life, the people in my life don't understand what I do. And so I don't have anybody, or I didn't have anybody to talk to about these things who could understand me. And so a sense of community of like-minded people, if someone could create that for me, hey, that is very helpful. So that could be what people need. Related to community, but slightly different, is accountability. Now, maybe what people need is someone to hold their feet to the fire and to do the work. So I think of life coaches and coaches in general. This is a big part often of the value proposition for coaching is I got to show up for that call and I better do the homework that person gave me. When I worked with a life coach, I know that was a very big thing. I mean, just the fact that I was going to have to show up every week or every 2 weeks, I don't remember what it was, but I think it was every 2 weeks, at least by the end, that I was going to have to show up every 2 weeks and I was going to have to report back. And if I hadn't done the work, I was going to feel bad about that. So that accountability could be a big part of what you provide. Coaches do this. If you think about it in fitness, that's often a big part of what your fitness coaches provide is that kind of accountability. But anything that is helping to kind of keep people accountable and on track doing what they should be doing, that's a potential value add people might need. Another type of need or value that they might need from you is direct feedback. And so depending on the type of product and how you help people, they might need you to put your eyes on what they've created to give them feedback. So you could think of this for design. You know, people might need help with you giving them feedback on the design of something, or copywriting. A great example of this. Maybe, I write copy, but hey, having someone who's a professional copywriter look at it and give me feedback, that could be valuable. So that's another form where it's not simply information. It is tailored. They're going to look at my particular work and give me feedback and support. That's another type of value they might need. Another type of value that people will sometimes need is coaching. And coaching is that, we could call this really, there's a couple of things. There's mindset coaching, but then separately, and I'll just lump these together, is kind of strategic thinking and working through problems together. But you get the point of it's the working through problems in discussions. It's not direct feedback on a piece of work, but it's figuring out problems and that thing. So coaching is another type of value people might need. And then the last thing they might need is just for someone to do the work for them, like done for you work. So that in many situations is what you need, because they don't have time. They don't want to learn it. They don't want any of this. They simply want someone to solve it. And the importance of understanding these different types of needs for your people is that once you start to see this, you'll start to see that oftentimes the type of support that they want or need from you will vary based upon where they are on their journey. If your segments is a journey-based type of segments, that will be the case. Again, to get meta here for a second, to talk about my programs, we recognized that the type of needs that people like, the support they need from me at various phases of their journey is different. Some people simply need the information because they're starting out. They're not yet at a point where they're ready to invest in any kind of direct support. So BOMU, information. Then other people who are early in their journey, but they want to get a kickstart, they need some feedback. They need a little bit of kind of coaching, but it's really accountability, community, and those things. So that's where my membership comes in. Then for people who are more advanced, it really shifts more to getting the feedback, the coaching, and really kind of working more intensely with them. And so that's where my coaching program comes in. So we tailored our offers to meet the needs of people where they are. And so this is why you're doing that work. You're trying to understand what kind of support does your audience need and want from you? And you're going to need to have that information, because the big problem that people will have is if your product doesn't deliver what they actually need, it's not going to work. So for example, if your audience, if information is not what they need, or is only a small piece of what they need, but they really need help with accountability and feedback and coaching, and your product is a course that doesn't provide accountability, feedback, and coaching, then all of a sudden people aren't going to react because that's not what they need. Or if they buy it, they're not going to get results because you didn't meet them where they actually are. And so they're going to not send more people your way. They're not going to be pleased. You will get a bad reputation. So this is where understanding what people need, you're going to have to match that with your product offers over the long term. A very clear example of this is I heard one time I this is something that's come up quite frequently. I've had this come up where I will hear people who they are targeting someone like me in an entrepreneurial journey who is further along in the journey, et cetera. And they say, well, I've got this course and nobody wants to buy it. And I said, I'll tell you why. I don't want to take a course. At this point where I am in my journey, I want, for most things, there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, I want a group coaching experience. I want, hey, give me the information, but ultimately I need high-level support working with people. That's what I'm going to look for in the particular areas that I'm looking for it. Because when you're further along in your journey, oftentimes information isn't really what you need, because you don't need something that's going to take more of your time. You need something that's going to solve a problem more quickly with more direct, targeted support. So that's just kind of one of those examples of how understanding this stuff and matching it to your customer segment. So understand that if your customer segment are busy people who don't have a lot of time to execute themselves, you're going to have to craft a product and a program and a solution that will cut through the noise and help them get done without having to do a bunch of work themselves, because that's what they need. So that's the work here. And again, this, along with the problems in the customer segments, you're doing this work by going out and doing market research, by being among your people, hearing what they say, hearing their struggles, hearing what they're looking for, and you'll start to get a flow for this. So the action step for this lesson is to go out and figure out and start with just a thought experiment, but it ultimately should be based on research, which is you figure out your segments and you say, okay, what kind of support do they need from me? Do they need information, tools, community, accountability, feedback, coaching or strategy support, or done for you type of services? Which of those are the things that they need? And by the way, most times they're going to need multiple things, but identify the different ones that they need, and that's going to help you to create the right product when it's time to do that. So that's the assignment for this lesson. Go ahead and do that work, and then join me in the next lesson where we'll talk about identifying the current solutions and what's out there to help them solve their problems now. So I'll see you in the next lesson.